We just announced at the ACLJ that with our friends from Empower Oversight that we've taken on our second whistleblower client after the FBI unconstitutionally retaliated against Marcus Allen, FBI staff operations specialist, who, by the way, was the employee of the year for the FBI's office in Charlotte. Think about that for a moment. Let me go right to Tristan first. Tristan, I know you're getting inundated, and we're glad we're able to partner with you on this. Empower's done a great job on the Hill, too. And now we've got a team that's working together, and this is a multi-client matter now and continuing to increase. Marcus's case is interesting because here's a guy that just was literally doing what he was supposed to do, and he ends up getting his security clearance pulled.
Yeah, exactly. It's really outrageous. And again, it was only in 2019 that he was the employee of the year, so it wasn't long ago at all. And just as he spoke up, his whole job is to keep the people in his office. He's on a joint terrorism task force. His whole duties were to keep them apprised of things that could impact their investigations. And so he noted, the various narratives that were out there about folks who were present on January 6th and was keeping them apprised of that. But then when he spoke up about Director Wray possibly failing to provide a complete picture to Congress, that's when the hammer came down. And that's when they suspended his clearance. And he's been without pay for a year and a half since.
Let me ask you this, okay? We've got, I know my colleague Jane Raskin was on the phone with Marcus and a number of other lawyers. You all were on as well. The pattern here is pretty clear, but I want people to understand from your perspective, because you're getting a lot of, we're partnering with you on this, but you've already had a number of these on Capitol Hill. This situation isn't decreasing, Tristan, it's increasing.
Yeah, that's right. And what's scary about the FBI, and this is part of what the Weaponization Committee has looked at, is that you have a situation where maybe approximately half or more of its workforce have differing political opinions. And the FBI seems to be just driving out anyone that there were folks that even if they were not inside the Capitol on January 6th, again, people who are supporters of President Trump who've been questioned or driven out. You have people who refused to get the COVID vaccine who've been questioned or driven out. And you have rumblings from the top, from the Deputy Director, Paula Bate, saying anyone that doesn't agree with our view of things, there's no room for you here in the agency. And that's simply not appropriate for an agency that's run by our tax dollars.
I wanted to go to Tristan on this and then Jordan as well. Tristan, as you're viewing this, both of you and Jason have a lot of, you and Tristan have a lot of experience. So I want to go to Jason on this one, actually. Jason, you've been on the Hill a long time. You've been doing this work. The trend line, as I was just talking to Tristan here, seems to be on a really high upward trajectory. I know we had a conference call on Friday after we got Marcus Allen that we're working with now. There was a third whistleblower, another agency here. The trend line seems to be going nothing but up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we, the incident that Tristan was just talking about Paula Bate, we had an anonymous whistleblower a couple weeks ago who we filed an anonymous affidavit on that talked about hearing the deputy director of the FBI on a nationwide conference call, hundreds of other people. It's one of the reasons the person was willing to come forward because, lots of people could corroborate this. And we gave his affidavit to the Inspector General and to the folks on the Hill, where the deputy director of the FBI basically said, if you're not on board, then you need to get out. Have people call me. I will straighten them out. It was on all January 6th investigations. And so it was a really, really intimidating sort of a threat that was said out loud. I'm sure that multiple people who are in the chain of command of multiple of our clients heard that and took that direction from the top. Okay, we're supposed to get rid of the people who aren't on board.
What's interesting about this, Jordan, I think this is important. The agent was dealing with, Marcus Allen was dealing with open source information. The same thing's true with other agents saying, look, there were people that invaded the Capitol. That's one thing, and you prosecute those. But you got to be careful about, people that were engaged in First Amendment activities. Then there was a question about whether the FBI had infiltrated Proud Boys and some of these other groups. Director Wray gave an answer that was not correct. These FBI agents knew it was not correct. It was sending out the wrong signal. So they are being literally thrown out. Security clearance is suspended, pay stops, and their crime is they told the truth as to what was going on.
What I think is important here, we heard it from Garrett O'Boyle in that interview we did with him last week, and I think it's so important. If people missed that interview on Friday, what he said was, he had appreciated, of course, working with Tristan and the team at Empower, But when Empower and ACLJ got together through the American Center for Law and Justice and combined forces, he kind of said, that hearing when I was asked, what would I tell people who were thinking about doing this? And he said, pray hard and probably just go through me. Don't put yourself or your family through this. He kind of said, well, now that the ACLJ's here working alongside Empower, and he knows that we've got the resources to fight back against the federal government, he's kind of switched and said, you know what? I want to start encouraging. I think we could open the floodgates, was the exact word he used. Open the floodgates of whistleblowers coming out of these executive agencies to blow the whistle and tell the truth about the weaponization of our federal government against the American people. And specifically, it seems like their latest target has been anyone related to conservative politics, whether it's Republican politics, pro-life politics, just being conservative in general, or even being a religious person, as we saw the attacks and focuses on the Catholic Church. So he's actually kind of made a 180 and said, with the ACLJ behind us, we could get forward a lot more of these whistleblowers.
I also want to say that Empower's done an unbelievable job here. And to Tristan and Jason, I need to say this. You guys got in this early. You've been aggressive. You've been handling these cases right. Tristan, we've got more to talk about. But for people that want we've got your website up on our screen right now for those that are watching our broadcast. What's the best place for people to contact you, but also to support your work?
So that website, empoweroversight.org, is the best way to reach out. There has the information there to email us or reach out to us. The best way to support us is actually through a new website we set up, defendwhistleblowers.com. And that goes to IRS whistleblowers like Gary Shapley, the case agent in the Hunter Biden investigation, and other law enforcement whistleblowers who we're representing, who are just speaking up about the truth and are being, hounded as whistleblowers for doing so.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a moment. I think it's important for people to understand here. We're looking at litigation angles. We've got one case that next step is federal court of appeals. We're working on that with Empower right now, and that's an important case. You've got the Marcus Allen case, which is it's still in the administrative review, but you've got Tristan, other cases coming in the door. Let people know kind of quickly here what happens when someone calls.
Absolutely. So generally, we email is the best way to contact us, and that's either through normal email or Proton email, which is encrypted. But we have a team that goes through and reviews those, tries to make sure that it identifies the issues where we might be able to have an impact, and then those come to our lawyers to be able to, again, review and see which ones we can make a difference in. Lots of situations there's not a clear pathway to review, but where there are whistleblower disclosures and where there's whistleblower retaliation, that's really where our specialty is because of all of our work on the Hill. And so we go through those and reach back out to people as quickly as we can to find out more about their stories.
And Jason, the fact is we're already seeing impact from all of this as we move forward now together on these cases. We're already seeing impact. I mean, the government knows that this is serious business now, and they've got a fight on their hands.
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence that we're going to get positive results out of Marcus's case from the Inspector General, and that's just going to be, priceless to have the independent Inspector General come out and find the facts. We're very confident they're going to find the facts in our favor because the retaliation against him was just unconscionable. But I mean, with regard to people reaching out to us, it's really important for folks to talk to us as early as possible, because what we can really help them do. We can have the most impact and the most help by counseling them before they've made a protected disclosure. And we can make sure that they do it in the right way and do it in a way that's most powerful and then we can try to get folks on the Hill and in the IG community to make sure they follow up.
All right. Empowered Oversight does a great job. Glad to be partnering with them, and keep up the great work.